It's a secret society. All they ask is trust. Blessings, people. Magnetic intuition. Hope all is well. Hope you're staying blessed. I hope you're staying warm. You know I got a topic for you. Now, you know, I always talk about manifestations and abundance, living with integrity, right? But I want to say this. You know, working with the universe is not an option, right? If we want to obtain them things, right? But we always have to remember that the number one enemy in our life isn't necessarily our actual enemy. It's ourselves, right? And why so? We must ask, right? It's simply because our words are spells, right? Now, there's a book out there that inspired this video that I read about maybe about 2 years ago called Word Magic, right? Shouts out to the author of Word Magic. And basically, the whole concept is what you say shall be presented to you, right? Shall become your reality, right? So I wanted to bring this up because even sometimes I have to, you know, come back into reality and realize that what I may say may become my reality, right? So I remind myself over and over again. And I definitely want to remind you in this video that you must speak every day's life that you live with positivity and respect for yourself, right? And even for others, right? Because regardless of the fact, we control our destinies, right? So, words are spells, right? And I could give you a story. You know I got a story for you. Come on. So let's get into it. So I was at work, and a colleague of mine, right? That's a EasternStar witch, right? Of course, they love to also help you with your word spells, right? So there was a situation where there was a parking ticket that came up. I don't even know if the girl's telling the truth or not, but she showed me the ticket, and she wanted me to help pay for the ticket, even though she was the one that parked in the wrong place. You understand what I'm saying? Now, let me remind you that the company we're working for, you know, gave us the car. She was the car driver, and it was her duty to bring us to work, right? You know, she get reimbursed for everything, but she was the one that parked in that parking spot. So what she tried to do was collect money from me, and I told her no. We're not doing that because that's not how I roll. You understand what I'm saying? Like, you're not gonna sucker me into anything that I didn't do. So the whole goal was to basically, it was a trap. It was basically to get me to say that I was broke, right? So what she said was, what, you don't have the money? And I was like, hey, say what you want to say. You understand what I'm saying? Instead of saying, nah, I don't have the money, I'm broke. You know, you understand what I'm saying? Instead of saying all that, I just took it a different route, the smart route. And I said, say what you want to say. Feel how you want to feel. And the which she moved on, right? And that was that. So you have people that are evil that will try to force you into saying things about yourself that aren't true, right? So just keep that in mind, right? But more or less, words are spells. Or you could use words for magic, right? For prosperity, for wish fulfillment, right? God's word, right? Using the Bible, right? Reading the Bible, right? Listening to the Bible. Man, I think that's like one of the low-key, like, illest things you could do, man, is listen to the Bible. You know, I loved it. I love it, like, seriously. Like, the energy that's put into it, you know? Because I know many times, and I can include myself, you can, you know, if you don't know better, you could read the Bible and it could get boring. But you have to find other ways to make it easy for yourself and more enjoyable, right? And then after listening to an audio or the Bible, you can go back and actually read it, and it won't have that type of impact it had before. You understand? Because these days, we love instant gratitude, right? We love things to be super quick, right? So, word of advice, word of advice, once again, speak positive on yourself, speak positive on others, stay blessed, stay motivated on Magnetic Intuition. Have a blessed day. See, I lead by example. Blessings.